all of the little baby chicks are underneath their little tree fort that I made for the hens. Hi girls, you're doing such a good job. So I guess it's time that we address this. It's something that we just didn't really mention at the time because not only were we a little bit upset about it, but also it's not really what everyone wants to hear. But one day we went out to Halifax and we were doing a bunch of errands and we got home like just after dark. Time change happened and it was getting darker a little bit earlier, and we came home, and as we pulled up the driveway, just to the right where we have all those great big gray and black rocks behind where we're building Hudson and London stables, we saw baby bobcat, a whole litter of baby bobcat scamper into the woods. They're clearly on the property while we were gone in the afternoon or in the early evening. And when we turned off the truck lights and we went to go up to go check on all the other animals, all we saw was chicken feathers. So those of you who were commenting that you thought that we had more than 2 hens, we did have more than 2 hens. The bobcat sadly had a very good meal that night. I mean, it's inevitable sometimes when you have predators and you live in an area like we do. It's not something that you want to happen, but we were only moments home coming after dark. Yeah. Which is why since that's happened, we realized that maybe there's more predators lurking around even than we even really thought.
The 2 hens that we have, we saved. The one was messed up pretty bad, was in the attack, and the other one clearly was losing some feathers, but we nursed the barred rock one. It was pretty bad. It had a lot of its feathers ripped right out of it, but it managed to get out, so we nursed it back to health, and we only had 2 hens at that point in time. But it was so devastating that, you know, you don't know. We want to post the good, the bad, and the ugly, but sometimes the ugly is too ugly.
Not something that's gonna like brighten someone's day.
No, we're a positive channel, and that just wasn't something that was positive. And it's gonna happen when you live in the woods. We have predators here all the time.
I mean, you saw the coyotes. You see how many weasels we get this time of year. They're always here, but we see them more this time of year because they're white and they scamper around. And we do have other things that lurk around. There's tons of fox. We see so many fox in the evening when we're driving to and from, you know, if we go out to the city for the day or something, we come home, that dusk time slot, we see them. There's bears here. You've seen mosey. We do have quite a bit of things lurking around, which is kind of unnerving when you think about how much we walk around this property every day and we don't see anything, but it's all out there.
Well, there's bigger weasels here too. I've seen everything from otters to big weasels to the little white weasels, but they are all chicken eaters, fishers. Yep. Yeah. Everything hits the river and then follows it all the way down. Our property is the first property that river actually lands to. So everything kind of comes to our house first, and then it disperses out into the forest. So we do get, which we enjoy, a lot of wildlife. Unseen circumstances. We came home and we had
a whole
flock eaten. We knew it was bobcat because when we pulled in, they were scampering around where the horse pasture was, and we were gone all day. And when we notice that we leave and we're gone all day and the property's really quiet, when you pull in at night, that's when you'll see animals. There'll be everything on the property because they think that we're not here. There's heron in the river, you know, there's beavers swimming up, there's everything. When you pull in, when you haven't been home, they're here, they come out.
That's why when we know that we're going to be gone for the day and that we're not going to be back until just after dusk, we always make sure that the animals are in. If we're gone for the day, we don't leave all the animals out in their pastures, because you never know. What if your vehicle broke down on the way home, or what if something happened and one of us ended up at the hospital? So we always make sure that all the animals have everything they need to make it through the day and the night if it need be, for us to be able to do what we need to do. Because you just always have to plan, especially when you have animals, for all of the unforeseen circumstances that you just never know what could happen. We were moments.
Oh yeah, like
chickens were the only thing that was out too. The pigs were in their barn. The horses were in the barn. We didn't have Henry at the time. Like, this was 3 months ago, maybe even, which is probably why you've noticed that we haven't really shown the chickens much, because we were nursing, like Philip said, the barred rock, and she was in really rough shape. Yeah. She looks gorgeous now, and she is such a survivor because she out-survived a bobcat attack. Yeah. And her friend, those two are besties. They're bonded by a bobcat attack for sure. They always did enjoy following each other around, but now they're like definitely bonded, those two. And we didn't have names, like I mentioned in yesterday's video about having a name for those two girls. We hadn't named our whole flock. We had quite a few chickens, but we lost the flock all in one time except for these two girls. So we're like, these girls deserve a name. They're survivors.
Yeah.
And we thought it was kind of funny because there was a couple of comments on like, did you eat them but you didn't tell us? So these chickens are laying chickens, so we would not eat our laying chickens. And we do plan on having meat birds in the spring. This year we didn't because of some other like life things that were going on at the time. We didn't end up going to get our meat chickens, but this spring coming up for sure, we will raise some chickens for meat, but we definitely didn't eat the flock. That's not why they're missing.
Our chickens were fancy chickens. They were really nice chickens. They're not to be eaten, but you know, bobcats have other ideas in mind.
I also love the comments when they're like, did you eat them? If you did, that's okay.
Yeah.
We just wonder where they are. I'm like, no,
we do eat chickens, but we don't eat fancy chickens. We love
we don't
those
eat our
chickens
that we've been raising for eggs.
We love those chickens. We were supposed to be home. Everything from us is a drive. Just to get into town is about an hour drive. If we're going to Halifax or the big city, we're 3.5 hours. That's just getting to the city, and then we got to do whatever we got to do. So it's a full day, and we prepare. We do all of our chores, you know, beforehand, and then we go.
4 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
You know, we didn't. When we're home, the chickens are out at dark. Nothing kind of comes and invades our space when we're home because we're always out moving around. There's noises. The horses are out. But when we left, we didn't even think.
Was silent.
It was quiet, and the only thing that was there was dinner.
Which is why you see when we build things like our chicken coops and our turkey coops, they have little houses. They don't have small coops. They're with fortified chicken wire because they have to be so fortified at night. And it's always nerve-wracking because little weasels can weasel their way in, and it doesn't matter how much you fortify. Sometimes there can be problems. But so far, so good. That has been our only issue with predators since we've been here.
Yeah, so now, if we're going, we lock them up,
early.
Give them lots of food, lots of water, and shut them in when we're going into town because we don't want it to happen again. And it is something we should have known better, but it's something that when you're leaving, the only thing you're thinking about is, oh, we got to get the chickens, we got to get the turkeys out, we got to get all the animals out. So you don't even think that, you know, you're not going to be home till 7:38, and that's when everything wants to eat.
And now it's getting dark at 4:45, like pitch black by 5 p.m. And so the day gets by so quickly, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be dark in 10 minutes. And so you just have to like change your mindset so many times throughout the year with the way that the light, like the darkness comes. So it's sometimes you just honestly don't even realize that it's now going to be dark so much earlier, which is kind of what happened. But
we're so routine here. We wake up early, we let the horses out, we let the piggies out, we let all the animals out, and then when it's dark, our horses go to the barn every night. So we go catch the horses, halter them up, harness them up, bring them in. And that's just a system that we've been doing, you know, when all the other animals aren't and you're out.
We also plan on doing that too, because we've had some of our YouTube family members comment about when we have the cattle and they're out on the rest of the acreage that's not close to the house.
Yeah.
And that they'll be worried about them having the coyotes and other predators out there, and that maybe we need some livestock guardians or something. We plan on having some type of system where we get them back at night to the area right in front of the barn that we've created here. And we do have plans. This barn for that Henry's in right now is kind of like a temporary setup.
Oh yeah,
so
it's not a forever
we're not gonna
thing.
give you like all the details because like there's no fun in that for us at this point. But we do have other plans, and so but our plan will be, no matter what happens with structures or anything like that, that the cattle will be able to be in the barn at nighttime and then let out in the morning, just like we do with the horses, as much as we can, so that we can eliminate any of those problems. So we do have plans for some of the things, but it would be no fun if I told you all of it now. Yeah. And then you won't get to, you know, you already know it before you see it all happen. But
there's so much property that we own behind us. So, you know, it really is just the beginning. I know we're 3 years in, but it is just the beginning.
I don't even feel like we've even done 2% of what we want to be doing on the property.
No, well, and
with the house and outside.
I know, exactly. We've done 2%, but then we always want to go back and change what we've done. Once we've actually lived in it, you know, we keep changing what works for us and what doesn't. So,
and I think that's normal. I don't think anybody who has their house or is doing any like renovations is ever completely done. By the time you make yourself all the way around the other rooms in the house, there's always something that you want to go back and change, or that you realize that, you know, you bump your neon 17 times a week, or maybe the color just wasn't that great and you just thought that maybe now that you've added other elements somewhere else that that's changed. And, you know, we've already done that in some spots like a couple times throughout the house, and I'm like totally okay with that, because as I always say, it's just paint. And usually it's nothing it's not like we're ripping out cabinets or we're ripping out anything, that flooring and changing things that are expensive. But, you know, a $30 gallon of paint here and there to like change things so you really, really love it. We live from home. We work from home. We do everything from home. And so for us, the space is so important to keep us like motivated and inspired and just cozy and still fit our lifestyle. And, you know,
it's such a beautiful property. I never want to leave my home. So it's so nice to invest, put the money and the time back into our property and our house, because it is, you know, when we're done, we want it to look like in the States, a state park, and here a provincial park. We want it to be absolutely gorgeous, and
we want to have the best setups for all the animals. Like everything that we've done so far, it's just the beginning. So it's so exciting for us to think about all the projects we're going to have coming up and how things are going to evolve over the next couple of years. And we have some pretty big plans for the next year. I know we're not quite in 2025 yet, but we have some pretty big plans. Some projects that are small that are still big things. Some projects that are big that are actually big things. Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome.
I just can't wait till I look out at my back of my property and I see a couple Highland coos just wandering and munching on this beautiful grass, chilling in the sun. It's so calm and peaceful back here. You don't really hear much from the highway. It's really nice. And then it's going to go back down here and it's going to attach to the other pasture where we're going to make the horses bigger. You're going to be able to go down close to the river. There's Elysia hiding.
I'm looking for coyote. Last time we came out here, the coyote was watching us, and at first we didn't know he was watching us. So
oh yeah,
this flip the script on him.
This is the coyote playground back here. There's some wet spots. We're going to dry it up. We have some plans.
We have work to do back there for sure.
Always work.
Lots of work to do back there. Not to mention, so fun because we purchased a huge setup to do electric fencing on the entire acreage, which is going to be awesome. We're going to have multiple strings of electric and also separating a bunch of our pastures. So not only will the entire perimeter be electrified, but also all of the individual sections that we're going to have so that we can move animals from, you know, small pasture to small pasture to smaller pasture, and like rotate around. And then we also think we're going to do a little bit of like cohabitating together. Like, I just think it would be so fun. Philip and I have been talking about it all week about how fun it would be for our coonies to be able to roam the woods and go through their pathways and back up to a pasture area that they're gonna have, and then back up to into the mini barn where they eventually will be. When the horses are in the stable barn, the coonies are gonna get the mini barn and they're gonna have their own little stalls in there. I have such a cute idea for what I want to do in there. We're gonna be building them a big play area, and then they'll be able to also sometimes go out into pasture, which I thought would be so fun for them to go out with the Highlands, because there's no reason they can't join together. And it's so fun and rewarding for us, even just when the chickens go in with the coonies. The chickens, our two hens, love to go in where the coonies are.
Oh yeah, our forest is absolutely gorgeous.
We have some plans for the forest as well, which is pretty fun.
No, I can just picture the piggies running down our quad path here, just having the heck of a time.
I want to do like a starting line and a finish line. Be like, okay, go! And like drop the flag, and then they can race to the checkpoint.
There's a YouTube channel that I watch, and it's just coonies racing. It is the cutest thing I've ever seen. We could do a cooney track here.
That'd be adorable.
I already see them running. No,
I'm just gonna say
the Highlands are gonna like it back here.
Our love tree is leaning, love.
Our love tree is leaning. We did lose a tree in the hurricane. I think we've shown you.
We've lost quite a few other branches around. Last week, look, another down here. But our love tree is leaning. Stand from the side. You can see it from here how much it's leaning. One day we're gonna have to chop it off, like just underneath and just above, and make it like a coffee table on the porch or something. Because when that part falls, if it doesn't crack here, I'm hoping if it falls one day that it just timbers over, like upwards from the ground.
Well, by the looks of the other one, it's not going to. I know, it's sad.
We're gonna get a love tree divorce.
Yeah, we are gonna get a love tree divorce. I'll just chainsaw into a new one. The sad thing is, these are the oldest trees on the property, these group of 4 here. There's a couple bigger ones on the backside of our property over here.
We will make use of what we can for firewood though for next year. Like this summer when we have time, or spring and summer, we'll be able to come back here and really clean up the woods, because we still have 2 piles of glass. We have one that Philip and I just walked by where we were, you know, mudlarking for all of the old bottles and stuff. Yeah. There's so much of it in this one plot that we really need probably like 3 full days start to finish, just going through and picking up what's there and then raking underneath as much as we can before any animals can come back here. So one pile over here, and then one over by our little stream that we have on the other side where Hudson and London's next section of pasture will be, that we have to pick up over there. So we have 2 spots and a big roll of barbed wire that was probably the original fencing for the original cattle that were here, which is super fun because I'm not sure if we've mentioned before, maybe we have, but in doing as much research as we've already had enough time to do, there's still so much more for us to research. But the original owner, Captain Myers, who, you know, built this house and his family resided here and they had their own homestead, small farm here, they had cattle. And so it's so fun to be able to bring back a lot of the elements of what was on this property. And that barbed wire would have been the original fencing that they would have had to keep the cattle in this area. So kind of cool. I'm thinking maybe I'll make something with like a little piece of it. I don't want to throw, I mean, we're going to get rid of it because we don't want barbed wire on the property, but how cool just to make something little to just hang up somewhere in the barn or something, just to have it from the original part of what was here. Right. I mean, I think what we're going to do, based on like some recommendations from some other local people we've run into, there is an area somewhere, I think just the library, that we can go and do a whole historical, go down the whole of like what was actually here and find as much information we can about this property itself and the family that owned it, and really just kind of, we're really trying to keep some of the original integrity of this property. Not that we knew the Myers family in any way, but we feel like they were here for so many generations and they were here like so many decades, like 1899, it's now going to be 2025, and we're the next generation family that's going to reside here, and we're first generation doing all of this, and I think they were as well. So it's just really neat to kind of like have that loop all over, right, and be able to do that. Like when we found that letter under Chase's floor, it really was hit home to us that there was such a family that lived here and they had their own things, and it's just I want to learn more about all of that, so I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so something that we have been meaning to do for quite a while, and there just never seems to be a day where you think, boy, I really want to do that today. We're in the thick of things. We've decided to empty the entire garage today. We did a little reinforcing on the pig coop, got their coop all cleaned out. We've been working like crazy, getting all of that ready for winter. We've emptied about 3/4 of the garage, but we've also been storing hay in here over the past year and a bit. And this is clearly not supposed to be a garage that we store hay in. This is supposed to be the garage that we have the dirt bikes and quads and tools and, you know, things like that. We need to have a shed system set up where we have like an animal feed shed. And then we also need to have a hay storage spot. But until the barn is done and we get those projects finished, those projects are on the to-do list, which means that this garage is the catch-all for everything. I'm gonna show you just a quick little sneak peek of what we're doing, but this is not a one-day job. This is like, hopefully it's a nice day again tomorrow and we can work today and tomorrow, and then we should be done in the garage space, but we're making a dent in it. We've been working our way at it all day today. It's gonna be nice when we're done. At one point, when we have some other projects done, we would love to actually finish insulating in here, drywall in here, and set this up as like a really good just workshop for working on any machinery or anything that we have on the property. You know, eventually, hopefully one day when we can, we would love to be able to budget out a tractor. quads in here, dirt bikes in here, you know, if you have to fix a lawnmower, things like that. This is what this garage is supposed to be used for. But until that happens, it's for everything. So this side is mostly empty. This side we have quads and stuff. We need to get everything out that's over here. We're raking up where any loose part hay was. We've got beehive supplies to move. Everything in here needs a clean, not just an organize.